I'll start. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Mr. President, I want to officially welcome you and First Lady Jill Biden.
And we've announced $163 million to begin construction on the canal to restore, help me with the pronunciation. Martin Peña. That entire ecosystem from the Department of Energy and other federal agencies, not just, I don't usually talk this fast, but it looks like it's moving quickly. And I usually don't quite talk this fast, but it looks like we made it. Thank you very much. I want to bring up the, do you mind, Gov? Well, my name's Joe Biden, and I don't want the headline to read, Biden brings storm to Puerto Rico. So I'm going to maybe have to cut this a little short. Let me start off by saying that to help however they can. And New York sent not only a congresswoman in the Congress, but the state troopers and emergency responders. I don't think you're going to stay the whole time, right? Anyway, all kidding aside, New Jersey sent their...
And a real tribute to President Biden. He has been a great president. He has accomplished, we've working together, accomplished so much. And that is beginning to have some appreciation in the public in terms of his leadership.
Philip asks a really interesting question, Harry. It asks people they poll, if the issue that is most important to you, whatever it is, which party do you trust the most?
That's exactly right. You can say anything that you want to. If you're scared of clowns, you could say that's the most important issue. And on the issue that Americans say is most important to them, who do they trust more? They trust the Republican Party more to handle by a 48% to 37% margin. This is a huge gap, John.
So let's deal with that disconnect, which we also refer to as disparities, because we see that people in our country are having an experience that is not equal. And that's why we talk about equity, because we recognize not everybody starts out on the same base. They don't start out in the same place, even though they have the same God-given capacity. So when we talk about the work we are doing here together, it is recognizing that and being guided by this principle of what we must do in the spirit and in the interest of equity.
So, the economy is on the upswing. You know, Joe Biden has brought a sense of normalcy and competence to everyday life that was lacking during the pandemic.
But I want to say it again. We are not leaving here as long as I'm president until everything, I mean this sincerely, until every single thing that we can do is done.
You think the inflation in this country is caused by all of the money that's being doled out from the American Rescue Plan?
Absolutely.
You think that's right?
No. I mean, obviously the sheriff doesn't understand, and I understand. He has been educated on this, maybe, the intricacies.
You know, this isn't a beta program, John. This isn't something that just came out as a possible solution to move forward. It's been tested and it's been tried in other jurisdictions. And why not bring a different paradigm forward? I mean, this existing system we're in now, we're 49th. You know, 4 years later, under the governor's tutelage, we're 49th. And so you have to look at different ways of doing business.
It seems like you're flip-flopping on a lot of these things, too, as I ask you how you've distanced yourself from Joe Biden. And we're talking with Congressman Tim Ryan. He's running for Senate against J.D. Vance. Let me go to student debt cancellation. That, if I'm not mistaken, was part of your platform when you ran for president just a few years ago. And, in fact, in May of 2020, you voted for the HEROES Act, which would have canceled $10K in student debt. And you also voted for an amendment in July of 2020 to the NDAA, which would have canceled up to $10K in student debt. So you were for it, and now you're against it. That would be a flip-flop there on student debt cancellation.
Well, look, I think there's a better way to do it. I think the best way, in my opinion, the best way to do it is to allow people who have loans negotiate down their interest rates down to 1% or 2%. That's going to put money in people's pockets. I think that's, again, this is my position. I think that's the cleanest way to go about doing it. People have been getting raked over the coals. That's one. Two, I think that this is doing nothing to actually reduce the cost of college. So we're going to be back in the same position.
I would agree. So why was that part of your presidential platform?
Well, I've always talked about we've got to get to the root cause of this problem, and that's where we are now, and that's why I'm not supporting what the president is doing, because I don't think we should be back here in 5 or 10 years.
It's exactly what you proposed 2.5 years ago.
We're going to have to do the same thing. Well, I mean, I think we've got to deal with the issue. Okay, and I can have an honest conversation about how best that we do that.
I think
people have been paying.
Student loans are broken, and college tuition is broken. You're absolutely right, but you were in favor of debt cancellation 2 years ago. Now you say you're not.
Well, I just think there's a better way to do it. I think, looking at everything that's happened, there's a better way to do it. Reduce interest rates, allow people to renegotiate those rates down. If you take out loans, you should pay them. And I also think that if we're going to do anything in this environment, given that all the money that we've been spending, if we're going to do anything, you better fix the root cause of the problem. And that was not part of the package, and I think it needs to be.